Hi, I'm Steve. I'm the bassist from Lipstick. With me today is Greg, the vocalist from Lipstick, but he can't talk because his microphone is far away from the play button of the DVD player, which has Kiss Exposed, the movie that we're watching today and making snarky commentary over. I've never seen it before. Greg presumably has. You ready to start this thing, Greg?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. 3, 2, 1, play. Hello.
The show we are about to see is a rousing docudrama.
A docudrama.
It will be disgusting to some, titillating to others. But whether it disgusts you or titillates you,
Those are the only options. You can only be disgusted or titillated.
Right?
and nothing but
Or pied, I guess.
Or pied.
so. This is Paul Stanley's place, his driveway.
So is this actually like a docudrama, or is it just like all staged?
This is all stage. It's like this is Spinal Tap, but with Kiss.
Okay. This is Kiss Tap.
This is Kiss Tap.
Is that good for you? I like it. And then we'll have the music up here and the titles up there.
Ooh, that was a super great animation.
Right? Very impressive animation.
Kiss Exposed, where the X is made of bacon.
Paul Stanley's front door, a rawhide affair made of this twisty, folding metal type thing.
Please tell us more about architecture, dude.
Paul, how are you? God, lifestyles. No. How are you? No. This is the real behind-the-look scenes of Kiss.
Behind the look scenes.
Behind the look scenes.
Joe, Paul Stanley. Why don't we,
So if they're going for the Spinal Tap thing,
it's supposed to be here till midnight.
it,
But the
Is
thing
it-
is, Kiss is cool.
Yeah,
unlike
okay.
Spinal Tap.
okay, all right. So if they're doing the Spinal Tap thing, is it all improvised like Spinal Tap was?
I don't know.
See these eyes? I just woke up, okay? Come back a little later. Paul Stanley just woke up. Later, his eyes will open. Should we cut tape and wait, or let's just keep going, huh? Okay.
I mean, if I wrote Rock and Roll All Night, I'd probably have that as my doorbell also.
It's so self-indulgent.
You don't want to come back late.
This is Kiss.
We got the Manilow concert tonight. Manilow.
Manilow, living on the road.
Sorry about that. It's right here. I'm gonna go. Just take a look at this. Let's go on in. Come in. Thanks for the invite. Make yourself at home. Thanks a lot. Come on over here. Whoa. See, we've got
Just like in real life, Paul Stanley has random unconscious groupies draped all over his house.
Yeah, just like IRL. It's a documentary, Steve.
A docudrama. It occurs to me, they introduced it as a docudrama, like, ostensibly on moment one of filming. And you don't really know if something is going to be a documentary drama or a comedy or what when you first start filming it. So,
Well, their goal is to, hear the deep inside tale of their struggles.
so they're going to manufacture it into a drama.
Yeah. Oh, they're talking about how they're going to watch the uncensored music video you couldn't see on television.
Ooh. The one with unconscious groupies draped over it?
No. It's a very 80s start to a video.
With fire.
And pink tassels. All right, so this is my favorite Paul Stanley stage outfit. I'm the only person I've met who has this opinion.
Oh, yeah, I could see that. This is very sparkly.
You can see how this would be my favorite and how also I'm the only human who thinks this way.
Right?
I don't know, he kind of has this has a mystical vibe to it. Like he could be the pro tag in a video game.
The shoulder pads, I think, are what don't do it for me.
Oh, yes, this is the worst Gene Simmons has ever looked, including the sex tape with the t-shirt.
This video would be much better if he took his t-shirt off. Is he wearing a pearl necklace?
No one came on his chest.
Paul Stanley took his shirt off.
Yep. So lyrically, this is actually a pretty emotional, serious song about relationships.
Yeah, better make the music video a bunch of just like random hot women being sprayed with hoses.
Right. So here's the trick. So
They look like they're surprised by it too. They're like just hang out, like hose to the face. What the I'm calling my agent.
So, like, despite there being a bunch of obvious problems here, I really love this video. This might be my favorite Kiss video, or up there.
This version or the censored for TV version?
I think there's only one version.
Oh, okay.
Because, like, you know, being completely honest, yes, these chicks are hot. Paul, also very hot in this video. I love this song. Like, this is spoilers for when we do the Asylum episode. My favorite song off the album by a wide margin. Like, great bass line, super catchy, powerful vocals. That great yellow and pink outfit. Paul's hair looks great in this video.
Do you ever wear that outfit live?
I think he might have. We got Bruce Kulick, my favorite Kiss guitarist.
That
his
was
first
the
album.
Macarena.
So,
These
yeah,
women are doing the Macarena,
but this is like a decade prior.
right? These women invented the Macarena. Well, actually, I think the original version of the Macarena is much older than the popular version.
I really like that shot with the shoes. I don't know, I just think it works well with the rhythm of the music. Which, yeah, it's a music video, it's supposed to, but it works really well.
Was a woman tearing through plastic supposed to be a metaphor for something?
I don't know. That's actually the part of the video that doesn't work for me, is the woman tearing through the plastic.
Just like one instance of that particular image.
But see, Paul's an equal opportunity. He's going to get wet, too.
He will also get sprayed in the face with a hose.
Oh, so I love those dance moves.
I think the gloves are badly designed.
Oh, I love those gloves.
I don't know, they need like some contrast so you can like see where his fingers are, maybe. Like with the tassels and just the solid pink, they just like make his hands look like blobs.
You know what? The gag of the butler just dusting groupies is kind of funny.
So is like the drinking game just every time you see an unconscious groupie, you take a drink? Because I think that puts us up to about, with this shot, about 10.
Right?
And a monkey.
And a monkey.
So I guess you could say you went caroling last night. Yeah. Listen, Sonny, come here. I want you to meet Sonny Crockett, my best friend.
Paul Stanley's best friend.
Listen. Girls, what's your favorite Kiss video? All Night. And why? Because it reminds us of you. Got 'em well trained. Put that on now. Oh, I'm sorry, but we can't find that tape. I worked this out. Put that on. Well, you see, Len at the record company said that I was fired. Well, would you like to see Lick It Up now? Oh, put on All Night. Well,
Yep.
Like just whiny Paul saying, pull the music video. Pull the video that I want to see.
Promote the new album first.
you're kidding.
just arguing about it in person. Like, yeah, because, you know, you couldn't edit that in post.
Right. You're saying you're not buying the conceit?
No. My disbelief is not suspended.
So you're thinking that maybe this isn't just an excuse to show the different Kiss videos on a long-form video format for you to buy?
Yeah, that's probably what it is. So I'm just, like, mentally trying to go through, like, what the budget of this film was. I'm gonna guess most expensive item was costumes and then models.
Right. Well, I think so. The videos were probably done before the film and just added on to it. So you know you're not going to factor in the video cost.
Oh, okay. Well, then costumes are pretty cheap. Renting a mansion.
Right. No, it's just Paul Stanley's house, dude.
Uh-huh. How many sets of guitar sticks is he using?
Of guitar sticks?
It's not the first time I've called him that. Probably won't be the last. Regardless, how many sets is he using?
I'm not sure. So this is another one of those songs that's better than it has any right to be. Like, this is a song that's kind of forgotten in the catalog, but actually holds up really well upon listens. Like, dumb lyrics, but it's a really catchy tune.
Those are some pretty dumb lyrics. I'm enjoying the conceit that, like, the backup dancers... And by backup dancers, I mean, of course, the band is playing in an abandoned warehouse, and there are beautiful women miles away doing something else. I like the bit where they're just going to sleep.
Right? That's how interested they are in the song.
Is a euphemism for sleeping? All right. Gonna work all day and all night. I want to rock and roll all night and sleep till noon all day. The imagery of a bunch of, like, nigh identical looking women wheeling out their car-shaped beds together. Oh, these are synchronized swimming moves.
Yep.
Not very well synchronized swimming moves, but...
This was a platinum selling album.
They couldn't afford some Olympians? And there was a platinum selling album back in the 90s when that... I mean, 80s, back when that meant something.
Right? Be so drunk right now, Steve.
Yep.
That's real funny. Sometimes people don't understand that with a lifestyle like mine, partying, getting crazy, it's real important to eat right. Nutrition becomes very, very important. You lose minerals, vitamins. What are all those other fancy things? Everything. Electrolytes. This nights I feel like a raisin. So anyway, when I
So I have an
doesn't matter when I wake up.
uncle who lives in Canada, whose voice sounds basically exactly like Paul Stanley's speaking voice when he's not screaming. And this is weirding me out a little bit. Just like, you know, my uncle who's a nurse. Picturing him as Paul Stanley.
Yep, same guy.
Much of this conversation would be pretty similar too. Like, yeah, eat some bran flakes. You need your vitamins and your minerals.
Yep. Oh, so you missed the best joke. You got to make sure you have roughage. I'm a pretty rough guy. Feel like your uncle would make that joke.
Yeah, it's distinctly possible. One thing is, like, my uncle's probably like 1.5 feet taller than Paul Stanley.
And Paul Stanley's pretty tall. He's like 6 foot. How tall is your uncle?
He's pretty tall.
All right.
Probably he's not 7.5 feet tall, but
This obviously works for you. Let me ask you. You've had a long creative relationship with Gene Simmons. When did it start? He's up. Let's go talk to him. Let's go.
Gene Simmons wakes up every morning by smashing the window.
Gene is a strange human being. Strange, that's kind of an understatement. Human being stretching the point just a bit. I tried to make this room up to be like his place at home. Is this the documentary? Yes. Edit her out. Edit her out.
Oh, I recognize that drop.
Yep.
I figured Gene needed a place that was really like a home for him. I figured some people
Now you know all my secrets.
it's kind of like, well, you know, he's the kind of guy who travels a lot. It's kind of like it's gothic, but it's also rather quaint. Come on, I know he's inside. It may be a little different than what you're used to, but it's definitely not Macy's. Look across between check room
Gene's guest room.
Yep.
Look at this. This is Gene Simmons' bedroom. Well, this is his bedroom. I mean, it's not the whole thing, but he calls this the sleeping room. This is amazing. You've got that in here? I find this. Who are you?
Oh, they were playing Love Gun,
Love Gun on the harpsichord.
which isn't a Gene song. It's a Paul song.
Hello. Yeah. Don't forget the duck butter. Yeah, the big. Yeah. And the fluff. Yeah, the fluffy marshmallows. That's my favorite. Yeah.
Some great acting from Gene.
Right. Did the camera just run into the dude's face?
Yes.
All right.
You like that, huh?
It's a very common Kiss drop. You like that, huh? Heard on many a Kiss podcast.
My kind of place.
What a terrible outfit.
Right.
Like,
He's wearing a Dracula cape, so you know he's a badass.
the Dracula cape is the best part of the outfit, but those pants.
Just keep cutting back to the women's heads in the wall.
That's nice for Daddy. Gene, first of all, I just want to say how good it is.
Wait, is his shtick that he's got any given day he's got 4 random models who just have their faces sticking through the wall?
Yes.
I'd like to ask you a little about your creative partnership. We talked about that a lot. That's not a good question.
Paul's like, it's not a partnership. I'm in charge.
Right. I think that is evidence that you know a lot about Kiss, the fact that you're able to make that joke. That means you're in.
There's a continuity here. Anyway, let's talk about. I think something your fans would like to know a lot about. Why did you take your makeup off? No, they know. Look, we've answered those kind of questions. They don't know. It's all about that kind of stuff already. So, it's very much. Okay. Let's talk about what they really want to know. Well, what was the last?
What do they really want to know? We have another music video. We're going to play that now.
I think it was like the largest album.
I like their excuse of, like, Gene Simmons just woke up. That's why his hair looks like that.
Right.
You might say it was the end of Kiss and makeup and the beginning of a new chapter in Kiss history.
And they keep on, like,
As soon as we left Rio, there was a population explosion. A lot of babies came out. That's interesting. As a matter of fact, I think we have some footage.
like that they keep on panning back to the models' heads through the wall. Because they're like, look, we paid a lot for this shot.
So the conceit that they had there was saying, hey, we don't want to answer questions we've, answered a bunch before, and we don't want to just, tell our fans something they already know. What was the last concert you guys performed in makeup? That's a good question that I'm sure our fans don't already know.
What's the best concert footage we have, you ask?
You mean the one where we played to 100,000 people? All right, let's see if we get a Vinnie Vincent shot somewhere in here. You know they love that guy.
Right?
It's like zero bad blood with him. Vinnie Vincent, the most beloved musician in history. Maybe that's why they chose this song, because there's not really a solo.
Yeah.
Or because Paul does the solo. Oh, wait, no, Vinnie Vincent shot.
Ooh.
Honestly, that's a really cool design. Like, that's a really cool stage look.
The Ankh?
Yeah, the Ankh. And, like, that's a cool costume, too. Like, that is pretty badass.
Yeah. I like the light bulb array that I'm sure when they first started off, it was a really cool looking effect and probably cost a lot of money, but these days it just looks cheap. Like, oh yeah,
You mean the light bulb logo?
Yeah.
I mean, even at the time, that was still a cool thing.
Yeah, but it just hasn't aged well. Like nowadays, you're like, okay, cool, a bunch of incandescent bulbs.
I still think it's cool personally, but that's because I'm mainly watching footage of 70s bands. So, like, when I see the Thin Lizzy logo and lights, I also think that's cool. And I want... Because, like, nowadays, it's just, hey, here's some cool stuff on a screen.
Yep.
So, it's like practical effects versus digital effects. Because now Kiss does that, but they just have a screen behind them.
You don't have to look too far to see that it's rather obvious that this place has things that most houses don't have. There's a lot of things going on here that maybe, that is my lunch. You know the way Mom always told you not to play with your food? Well, how did the bank get discovered?
Gross.
Yeah.
Sang on street corners. Some people are always saying bands don't pay their dues. Well, there was a period in our lives where we would stand on a street corner with a guitar case open. I would have a guitar, and Gene and I would stand and we go, sing hello, if you break my heart. That's my part. Okay, watch this, folks. And just make believe you're walking down the street and throw a quarter this way. You know, if you break my heart, I'll go, but I'll be back again.
And yes, that is a Beatles song, Steve.
I thought they were covering All the Way Home.
No, not quite.
Stanley, what are you doing down here? You look so cute.
I wonder if this film was done in a response to Spinal Tap, because so much of that movie was definitely making fun of Kiss.
Yeah.
And they're just like, what if we did it but, like, made ourselves look cool? To show, like, yeah, we can take some jokes, but we're cool.
You can make jokes, but you have to. All the jokes need to have the punchline that
We're
Kiss
awesome.
is really cool, though.
Right. The joke is that we have so much sex that, like, we can't keep up with it. This line's pretty good.
This puppet says, and this puppet says, I'm alive and well. Where am I?
Shade.
Gene Simmons is so skeezy in this. Is he doing that on purpose? He's like, ladies.
Welcome to every Gene Simmons public appearance.
Have I mentioned that I've got diseases?
Came up with the vision of Kiss in 1753. Right there.
Joseph Kiss Sr., the man who came with the vision of Kiss, 1753.
Ah, okay. That was a bit of trivia I wasn't aware of.
Yep. He just said someday there's going to be a really awesome glam rock band singing about their penises.
Sort of the small sounds of Freud. Okay, now the old album from the Asylum album. We don't have the platinum one up here because there was a hole in the wall downstairs, and we used that to cover it. Here's the hat that was worn in All Night video. It's fastened in there.
I sort of wonder if this scene is like the one real scene of, yeah, we've got a closet full of old crap.
Right.
Uh,
That we did Beth on, and Christine 16. So, we won't accept it as we're going by. Christine 16.
D major, the saddest of keys, at least when Gene plays it.
Right.
Up here we've got, yeah. Here's the love gun.
So apparently Kiss actually does have a warehouse full of just old crap.
I'm sure they do.
The holster for Gene's love gun. Sorry, no. This is no, it's a visual medium. I think your fans need to see. This one made it. This is from Rock and Roll Over. This is a, no, I don't think you can see this. This is a,
Just keep on trying to touch things.
I'll show you some of the, wait, back up.
Cameraman is such a poorly realized character.
Right. Bootleg by us.
Uh-huh.
A big San Francisco welcome for our special guest tonight.
Oh, this has the Snake Vomit intro. Check this out. Yes.
Yep, that sounds like something you'd play.
Let that one show of ours where our guitar player was out of tune for the first two songs. Well, at least I know we're on par with Kiss. And that's to their credit, they quickly right the ship in this performance. Yeah, so this is Young and Hungry Kiss. I think first or second album tour, so like very early on before they made it.
I like the multicam bootleg.
Right?
Also the fact that clearly much of this footage is sped up. So like, oh, they're just kind of standing there playing. We need to make it so they look like they're cooler. Okay, nobody's singing, nobody's really watching their hands, so speed it up.
But still, it is interesting to see them like back in the club days, still young and hungry.
Yep.
I mean, look how skinny Gene is. He's obviously hungry.
Yeah. It's true.
Good playing off each other on stage. The candles look cool and gothic.
See, it's super surreal for me to like watch these old Kiss videos and be like, oh, I remember when Greg did that move in a lipstick show. Oh, I didn't realize he'd stolen from Kiss.
Every single stage move I have was stolen from either Kiss, Alice Cooper, or Meatloaf. Or Donna Summer. But like the back and forth head thing right there, I didn't even realize I stole that from Kiss. Like you and I just started doing it. I think just like some of this just gets locked in your DNA as a musician where you just don't even realize, like, there's a conscious level where you realize, yes, this artist influenced me in this way, and it's sort of intentional. But, like, having stage presence and synchronized moves, like, you know, yes, Kiss did that, but so did Warrant, so did a bunch of 60s pop bands. it just looks cool on stage. Because it gives the idea of a unified unit.
I wonder how much time they spent rehearsing that back and forth move. Because they're not just going back and forth. It's like a specific pattern of...
Now this one is a very deliberate, famous move right here. So apparently what happened with that move that we were watching, the famous deuce move at the end of the song, they just did it like on accident once at a show, and then like their stage manager was like, no, we need to practice that and make it a thing because it's so good. It looks so cool. So it happened naturally, and then they refined it. Which, you know, is sort of the story with just a lot of bands.
Yeah.
Like, something happens by accident that becomes a normal part of the show. Like, during Black Diamond, Ace will fall onto his knees, and he did that initially because he actually just stumbled and fell one night. And then they thought it was cool, so then they started doing it every night.
Sorry, Ace, you got to eat the dirt every night. It's just got to be a thing.
Right.
Trip, fall on your face.
And he's your favorite. You got to feel bad for the guy, don't you?
Yep. Walks off stage one night, and the stage manager's like, Ace, I noticed you didn't bust ass today, and I think it just really ruined the show.
So is it weird that like both bands that we're deciding to do the entire catalog of for our podcast are quiet Asian lead guitar players?
Oh, is Ace Asian?
Yeah.
Oh. I don't know. How much of a trope is that?
I mean, I don't know if it's that much of a trope, but it's still kind of weird coincidence.
Yeah.
Not very good at singing, either of them.
You don't think Eha's a good singer?
No, not particularly, but I think I think James Eha is much more competent as a musician at this point than Ace Frehley is. I think at his peak, Ace was a much better musician than James Eha. But, like, present day, I think James is a better musician.
Yeah. I think Ace is a better vocalist than he lets on.
Yeah, no, I think he is. And I think he's a better guitarist than he lets on, too. I mean, Ace is one of those few guitar players who has a very distinct style, where you recognize it's him immediately based upon playing, which is either a credit to him being unique or him having limited ability. But either way, like, to have a distinct sound is impressive. And a distinct sound that people emulate and want to be like, where
Right.
the number of guitar players I know who say, I got started because of Ace Frehley and Eddie Van Halen, is a really high number.
I feel like throwing Eddie Van Halen into that kind of calculation is cheating. Like, the number of vocalists who tell, or the number of guitarists who tell me they got into it because of, you know, Eddie Van Halen or Sid Vicious is really high.
And no, it's there's a certain like tier of 70s rock guitar players that I notice the guitar nerds are super into. Ace Frehley's one of them. Eddie Van Halen. Here, an Ace guitar solo. Angus Young is another one of those. Like, if you're into 70s hard rock, those are your dudes. You know, there's not as many people like, I really wanted to start playing guitar because of Kurt Cobain.
Although I think Kurt Cobain, you end up with a lot of people who are like, I really want to start a band
right.
because of Kurt Cobain.
Which is totally a valid thing. But in terms of I wanted to be a good guitar player, I wanted to solo, Ace is one of those guys that inspired people.
Yep. That's a pretty cool effect, lighting your guitar pick up on fire like that.
Yeah, and remember, this is the 70s, dude. Like, for the time, like...
I like that the audience still looks bored.
It's still a guitar solo. And also, the chicks look bored. But the guys, the guys are freaking out. If you go back to that clip, the guys are like banging their heads like, fuck yeah. The chicks are like, yeah, that's cool.
I think about half the guys are interested, half the guys are bored.
Then the guitar flies away. You know what? If you're like a kid in the 70s, yeah, this is some awesome shit.
It's true.
Shoot, even today, that's pretty cool.
Right, seeing somebody actually pulling off an effect like this. Maybe you sang the right notes, Pete. Be a lot easier to find the sound if you could find the notes.
Yeah, he was famous for having pitch problems. But honestly, I think he sounds mostly fine, especially since this is towards like the end of the set when they do this.
Yeah.
So he's been drumming for like an hour and 10 minutes. And they're like, hey, sing a ballad quick.
This is to a recording, right?
This what?
They performed this to a recording, right?
Yeah, so the backing tracks are recording and then the vocals live. I have also noticed with some of the older footage that like there seems to be an issue with the vocal pitch in like a lot of older recordings. Like especially like 70s performances. So I think that might have something to do with video distortion.
No, this is just him singing the wrong notes.
That was the wrong note.
I wonder if it might be a monitoring thing too.
Right. So at the time of this video release, so remember this is the 80s before home video was like really taken off. Like it was just starting to take off. So if you missed Kiss in the 70s and you were only seeing them in the non-makeup era, MTV wasn't playing older Kiss footage. This was kind of your first exposure to a lot of this. So this had to be a pretty big deal for Kiss fans at the time.
It's a great bass solo there, Gene.
Well, it's less about musicality and more
Yeah.
just about sounding evil and spitting blood. Because, like, ironically, he can play bass well. He could have just done a solo, but think about how out of place that would be for the demon.
Yeah.
Just like, do-do-do-do-do-do, let me do some runs.
Just how did you do that? It was a capsule.
It's not even a capsule. I think he just, like... I think it's like a yogurt and ketchup mix. And he just, like, swallows it, then spits it out.
So it's really he gets to have a snack in the middle of the set.
Right? What a fatty.
I'm tired. I need a snack. So the question is, did all of the former band members get, paid like appearance fees for the reuse of this footage?
Yeah, they have to.
See, I would attribute pitchiness in the vocalist of this one to tape artifacts.
Well, yeah, because it's Paul singing. Like, Look, let's be honest. Paul is the MVP of Kiss.
Yeah.
Like, this is his band. And also, for a live vocal, this is actually pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Like, watching this footage, it's making me feel like every now and then I question my musical taste. Like, did I make good decisions? But I can see why Paul Stanley would inspire someone to be a good frontman. Like, as goofy as, some of his stage banter might be,
Yeah.
the guy is a great performer, like moving around well, singing well, getting the crowd into a frenzy. Like, that is a frontman to aspire to be like. No shame in that. Also, I love the capes.
Yeah. No capes. I wonder if they might have overdubbed some of the vocals for this particular recording, though. Those sound a little bit weird for live.
No, I think he has a vocal effect.
Oh.
So it's like that with the slants, where the harmonize with yourself vocal effect thing.
Yeah.
So I think that's what he's doing here. But he's still, like, getting way up there and going with power. And the reason I think they didn't edit this video is because they didn't edit any of those other live clips. They left all the sour notes in.
To
True.
the exploding cannon fire, a Kiss concert is a totally energetic, unforgettable experience.
He stepped in water by accident. What a goof.
I feel like most of these groupies aren't passed out. They're just napping.
Right, they're sunbathing.
Guys, I look around me and I see you've been living full lives. Full lives. Christine's been living a full life. Yes. Surely there are some fantasies that you
Is that meant to be Christine 16 or just some other random Christine?
Some other random Christine.
last week sometime. But seriously, I mean, when you live in Disney World, you gotta figure every day is another ride. And this is kind of like being on a roller coaster 7 days a week. Another ride, 7 days a week. I'll be back. Gee, dot the I for me here. Thank you. Yes? Is there a fantasy that you have yet to fulfill? Who was it?
The National Organization of Women, like the benefit luncheon.
Did he just mutter women as he walked away from the table?
Yeah, it was the National Organization of Women. Because that's a thing.
Kind of carpet. But I like tile. Especially these.
Now, see, this is proof that if you just, like, hang around the guys and kiss, you too will get laid, even if you're late. What is the camera guy doing? You can't just go and just touch a woman's breasts. I understand this was the 80s, but come on, guys.
Cameraman is kind of a poorly realized character.
We still have to know about these fantasies. We've seen them, that's right. The girls in the videos, those little things. Girls with bad habits, girls with nuts habits, nuts in bed. Large girls, little girls, blonde girls, short girls, tall girls, ugly girls, all of them. Oh, your video.
Your videos, it's almost as if we want to play another video right about now.
The record company actually pays you money to play out your fantasies on film. That's right, and we go along with it because it keeps us from having to get a real job. Rough life, isn't it? You know, I thought that the record companies, well, that the videos were just marketing tools used by the record companies to increase your record sales. That's how they look at it. Which
Because that's totally how video shoots are.
Right.
It's totally just like a day of partying.
I mean, it was the 80s. And from what I've heard about some of the video shoots, that is an actual accurate description.
Yeah.
Not necessarily for Kiss videos, though. Like, apparently the Warrant Cherry Pie video actually was just a giant party.
Say, go home to America. Go home to America. Well, let's take a look. Tears are falling.
Seems a little on the nose for a first shot for a video for a song called Tears Are Falling.
I mean, it was the 80s. Like, one of the things, I thought was a really great insight was someone was talking about music videos and saying that in the 80s, it was still a new art form, and so people didn't really know what to do with it.
Yeah.
And so, like, there's a lot of just, like, trust in the director to what you're doing isn't ridiculous. Because this was the birth of an art form.
Yeah.
All right, so this is Gene looks terrible in this video.
Yeah, he does.
Paul, his hair looks weird in this video for me. Like, it's kind of an inversion of his Who Wants to Be Lonely outfit, the pink and yellow, but instead of a yellow outside and pink inside,
Yeah.
it's flipped. But I think the outfit in the other video looks better, and I think his hair looks better, so I think it's an overall better look in the other video.
I think the gloves are better in this one. The tassels aren't the exact same shade as the rest of it, so... Oh, there's the pink gloves again.
Yep, bringing them back.
Just with every video shoot, he gets to have a new variation of that outfit, and so he mixes and matches them as they progress.
Yep. It's a very goofy set.
Yep. That is a lot of toms.
Yeah. So the thing
Also,
is,
his wig was falling off.
so the trick with actually apparently that is his actual hair.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Like, he is famous for actually having really ridiculous hair. I lost my train of thought. Oh, well.
Apparently... He got distracted thinking of all the rain on those nice Jacksons ruining them.
Right. Got distracted thinking about what a tasteful guitar player Bruce Kulick is.
I do kind of dig this set design, actually. Like, just like the crappy tropical island movie set with
Yeah, with the
TVs apropos of nothing.
And actually, now I remember what I was going to say. The gigantic drum kits were what I was used to from watching 70s and 80s rock
Oh, yeah.
bands. So then starting with just, like, normal drummers, it threw me off. Like, what? Where's the rest of your drums?
See, the shades went back on the windows because it's the... Does that count as passed out, groupie? This is the windshield wiper motion.
Driving in the car, and we have a trio now. We've got Peter Chris.
Oh, it looks like... Is that flannel? Is this the precursor to grunge?
Sleeveless flannel isn't really flannel.
And so they're talking about how Peter just had all his friends in the mafia.
I like that they keep on changing outfits. Just like they're being interviewed all day, and they're like, "Hold on, I need a costume change."
Yeah, just every time they go to the bathroom, they have wild sex with a groupie and then put on different clothes that are in the bathroom.
Oh.
Gene Simmons is producing an as yet unnamed major feature. He's graciously allowed us to sit in on the casting session. As yet unnamed major feature? Gene's not casting a film. He's not? No, he's casting our next party. We always like to get the cream of the crop. Little girl, what would you like for Christmas?
To have sex with a creepy, gross bassist. Ugh.
Now that you met Gene Simmons, it's time for the 25-point bonus question. Now, let's say your body was covered with chocolate sprinkles. What would you want him to do with that tongue of his, that long tongue of his?
Lick it up.
What?
Lick it up, please.
They're like, all right, fine, we'll play some old videos.
All right, so with the direction of this video, this was the first time Kiss was unmasked on television.
Yeah.
So that's why you're not seeing a shot of the band for a while in this video.
Right. Also because Paul wanted to show off his awesome, like,
His awesome boots.
his penis-enhancing, I don't know, ties on his jeans.
You immediately know which one is Paul. Yep, was Paul the one you thought it was?
Yeah, well, I've seen this video before.
Okay. Yeah, Paul's the only one who looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Eric is a little pudgy in this video.
Yep.
Gene,
Gene's an ugly man.
yeah. Vinny,
He's got to do something with that hair.
yeah. He probably wash it would be step one. So, you know this apocalyptic ruins?
Yes.
That's just New York.
That sounds about right.
Like, they just went to, like, a neighborhood in New York and filmed. Like, not even an abandoned part of town, just, like, went to a neighborhood in New York. Like, yeah, this looks like the apocalypse.
What seems like the sort of place Snake Plissken would hang out in. I mean, other than the entirety of New York City.
And then you got that hot pink Flying V Jackson. It looks kind of familiar.
Yep.
Actually, I will admit, seeing it in this video feels weird because now I'm just so used to it as being my guitar. It's like, what is one of the guys in Kiss doing playing my guitar? Also, it's Vinny, so like he won't give it back. He'll like charge me a bunch of money.
I like that the drumming pantomime in this video is in time with the music, but like clearly playing the wrong parts. Like when he should be hitting the snare, he's swinging across the kit so he can hit what would be either a tom or maybe a cymbal.
Well, I mean, for a music video, it's more about what looks cool than actually like playing the song.
It's true.
Also, he probably got bored because he was playing Lick It Up.
Yeah. Guys, I've been playing Lick It Up for 5 hours straight. Can I do something different? As long as it syncs up with Lick It Up. All right, so if you're watching along at home, our DVD just glitched out. So the yeah at the end of Lick It Up, play that about a dozen times. Yeah, 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 yeah.
And then this mutual guitar player friend of mine was in an old band that I was introduced by me to Paul. And the first time we met, I must have made a wonderful impression because I said, "Oh, so you play songs? You can write songs too, huh? Yeah, let's see what you got." Okay. We sit down, I play a song. He goes, that's not bad. It's not bad. In fact, I remember the first song was "Sunday Driver," which was a song that, and it wound up on our first album. First record, we changed it to "Let Me Know." Anyway, he thought I was a real putz, and probably from his perspective, he was right. But the first time we were ever together in any relationship, aside from the secret one, of course, is that I rented his band to my house.
Ah, gay implications.
It was actually like a coffee house, like a real.
I mean, the idea is the interviewer is a square who isn't open to homosexual relationships in the 80s.
Isn't open to homosexual relationships in the 80s.
Well, you know,
He's not open to them now either, but
Right.
he's open to them having happened in the 80s.
Well, I'm saying like it was a less socially progressive
Yes,
time. Like
sure.
the 80s were super conservative.
Yeah.
He answered the ad, and we never called him. He didn't sound right. He sounded like a flake. Time goes by, the next generation starts. We decide to put another group together, and then we decided when we meet. Then it was later that we realized, that he had actually called about this other band, and we never even get this phone call. Have you get that? It's so crazy. Cosmic. Don't let anybody say that there isn't fate involved in your lives, people, because this kind of stuff can happen to you also. Life is full of all kinds of changes and amazing coincidences that lead to prosperous fates. How's that?
Boy, survivorship bias sure does make it easy to,
Right?
claim certain things work.
Because things worked right for me. OLED boobs.
Yep. Heads up, kids, if you're watching along at home, there's at least one nipple in this film.
Yep.
I mean, there's a lot of boobs.
I guarantee you this was a way for that convinced people to buy it. Like the friend was like, "Dude, I bought Kiss Exposed and there are tits."
Oh man.
And then his
at
friend
least 3.
And then his friend is like, "Oh shoot, I gotta buy it." And then because remember this
Yep.
is pre-internet days, so these
It's true.
kids they're buying Kiss Exposed to jack off to it, and the tits are what? It's 57 minutes in, so your mom's not going to find out about it for a while.
You have 57 minutes at least until your mom finds out.
Well, no, I was saying it's far enough in where if your parents are pre-screening it, they're like, "This is trash."
This is
I don't
super boring and awful, but
I'm not going to watch the rest of it.
but there are no exposed female presenting nipples. Lots of Paul Stanley nipples, but those are okay for kids.
Oh yeah, this is them talking about politics. We're talking over.
Holocaust, post-nuclear war, with the post-raisin brand, post-nasal drip, U.S. Postal Services, what have you. Post-toasties. Post-toasties. With that, let's take
The interviewer was asking if their Lick It Up videos had any kind of political statement because they took place in a post-apocalyptic wasteland. If they were commenting on nuclear war, I'm like, no, we're Kiss.
That's some good fight choreography right there.
Have you seen this one before?
I think I watched like 30 seconds of it.
Yep, Vinnie Vincent breaking a bottle over some dude's head. Ah, yes, the video where Kiss invented rap rock. So Fred Durst exists because of this video.
Yeah. It's always good that even in the post-apocalypse, everyone has time to take care of their... Was that Mike Patton? And still got plenty of time to take care of their hair.
Right? Well, see, the ozone got destroyed from all the hairspray. It's all they have left.
All they have left is hairspray. Oh, man, that's a topical reference for when this came out.
Yeah, we're dating this podcast back to the 80s. Back when podcasts were at their peak.
Yep.
Also, this is pretty accurate. Club band hustling hard and the crowd not reacting.
Yeah. Ooh. Very, very realistic. Band working hard. Crowd not reacting except to occasionally sword fight.
And when we say sword fight, we mean an actual battle of
I
blades.
mean fencing.
Yes.
Busting out the rapiers. And broken bottles. The Foley in this music video is who's throwing swords to everyone? Somebody who was off camera has thrown multiple swords. Like, oh shoot, somebody's after you with a sword. Here, borrow mine.
So I think the band looks better in this video. This was their second video without makeup. Gene, I mean, he looks as bad as your normal metal bassist. So
I think the band looks better. The lighting is worse. There's probably a relationship between these two bits of trivia.
well, I think Paul, I think he figured out his hair better. His makeup looks better.
Who's throwing swords? Paul didn't even need a sword. Somebody just tossed it to him, and he just
Right.
dropped it on his way out. I guess maybe Paul's the one throwing swords. This is just the sort of bar where if you're
And
not
he-
using your sword, you toss it to whoever needs it.
And then they just tossed it back to Paul.
Or just as Paul was on his way out, he tossed his sword to somebody. He was like, oh, I don't need this anymore. Also, did Gene spend this entire video snacking on things?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, Gene's such a badass. Gene is definitely not the nerdy kid who got picked on.
I want to find that jacuzzi. It's got to be on this floor.
I'm sorry, but you can't go in.
Well, why not?
Because I'm bigger than you.
Well, we're filming a documentary in here, so we got to go in.
Beat it, Yahoo.
Ah, butler dude.
I love it loud. And right between the eyes. Is that not a video of just a bit fascist? Sometimes I get annoyed. People start talking about all our videos. That's not fascist. That's one of the slowest videos we've ever done.
But
To this here and to that. I'll tell you something. The only symbols that we're into are the ones around Eric's drums. This gets so ridiculous sometimes. I mean, Gene was just saying something.
In fairness, Paul's one-liners are actually pretty decent in this. He's not really an actor, but he does come across as pretty witty.
yeah. Yeah, to be fair, the acting in this is way better than the acting in Phantom of the Park was.
True.
Because, Gene does a very good job of creepily leering at the camera.
Sometimes they kiss and do something for the public.
And
We're into something right now that's called PSAs. That stands for Public Service Announcement.
Paul's lyrics are basically, lines are just
It's essential.
cheesy stage banter.
Okay? Now I'm going to continue talking. Please go to your sets and take the volume control in your hand. Now as I continue to talk, I'd like you to make sure that
That's not how volume controls work, Paul.
He's trolling.
I mean, and when this was made, that was how it worked.
Yes. So they probably didn't anticipate a couple of dudes in 2019 commenting on this. They're like, someone still cares about us in 2019? Hey, look, another video.
I like that this music video had a framing device they're just going to abandon it now. There was the setup of kid going to watch the band on TV, and there's just band on TV now.
Yep, the kid going to watch the music video. Because you could have just be the kid watching the video. Remember, this was a new art form. This is what, 82, this
Yeah.
video. That's pretty early into MTV's lifespan. I mean, shoot, Kiss still had the makeup on. Overall, I don't really like this video, and the main appreciation I have for it is just the nice, clear images of
Yeah.
Eric Carr in makeup. But otherwise, not super into it.
Yeah. It's just sort of generic concert footage.
Yeah.
But weirdly, concert footage without fog.
Right. And kind of slower, because they're playing to the studio track.
Yeah. Oh, everything's melting in the house because the music is so loud.
That's cool.
The roll move?
Yeah, the roll move.
Yeah.
Man, Paul is an MVP. Give that dude credit. Like, doing that roll move in platform boots.
Yeah.
Like, really, the more I do this podcast, the more I realize I need to be kinder in my opinions on Paul Stanley. The dude is doing a very good job, pretty much consistently. And also, I need to be harsher on Gene all the
Yeah.
time. Man, what a giant troll it is to, like... so now that you know more about Kiss, the fact that the average person thinks that it's Gene's band and he's, like, the one
Yeah.
who's the talent behind Kiss... Like, that has to troll you at this point, too.
Yeah. I want to get myself some sleeveless polos.
Man, that is, doesn't get much more 80s than that.
Yeah, right?
And a pink comb in your back pocket. Where are you going, son? Rock and roll has brainwashed me.
Yeah.
The staging of that.
I like that you filled in the dialogue that, like, you know, wasn't actually there, but I would have bought it if it was. So everybody just, like, painted over their eyelids, huh?
Yep.
Including the band. They just... Gene looked super high in that shot. Well, this scene was easy to shoot.
Yep.
We weren't as cool as everybody else. All the other bands were hanging out in clubs. We were hanging out in a loft on 23rd Street trying to learn how to play better. Our Thanksgiving was eating turkey sandwiches, and we thought that was kind of upper class.
I'll tell you a funny story is our drummer at the time, Peter Chris, was very depressed about, well, things aren't going so well. This was only after 4 months of rehearsal. One of our first concerts in New York City, a hall that we rented, we had transport and everything. So I rented a limousine and we went to this place with girlfriends, equipment, everything in a stretch. It was like a stretch Mercedes with everything in there. Went up to this sleazy prostitute hotel on 43rd and 6th in New York City. You get out and bombs are there, but we came in style. Go up to the second floor of this like sleazebag hotel, play our hearts out. You know, it was a great way to start. One of the first shows we ever did with Limousine.
We always thought of ourselves as a band playing an arena or a stadium. You know, bands try to do that nowadays, which is real nice, but I think it's definitely the right attitude. I mean, when we started off, we were
So they managed to get a lot of people showing up at this sort of sleazy hotel for their show just because Gene was a frequent patron. Like, all of the prostitutes who went to that hotel were like,
No,
oh, hey, it's their favorite client.
Those early Kiss shows, they basically had zero draw. And, there's sort of like two ways that bands I've found have gotten successful. One is like slowly like building up your reputation, slowly building your draw, hustle, and like really networking on the scene. And the route that Kiss took was take a bunch of time, perfect your craft, and be like a really solid act before you play a single show, and then invite as many industry people you can to those early shows to see if they're interested.
Yeah.
I ultimately think, obviously I'm a big Kiss fan. I criticize them a lot nowadays, mainly due to just burnout, years and years of being a fan, and years of liking something. You start to notice the cracks in the armor. But that's honestly something of theirs that I still really agree with, that I wish other bands thought of more. Like really refining and focusing your sound and image before stepping out there. Like, I think there's something to be said about like having some sort of deliberate thought process to your craft rather than I just wrote a bunch of songs and there's not necessarily cohesion to them the way they flow together.
Yeah.
Which, is what people had criticism of our second album for. Our first album, which, was like a really focused effort of like, this is what the band is. And the second one was like, what songs do we have? So, I mean, there's something to be said about being deliberate and focused.
That's fair.
Our second album is great, though. So
that'll teach you to let me write songs. Ha ha!
Your songs are great. It's just, I think we flew too close to the sun. Or we tried too hard to be Queen, and just, we aren't as good. Like, we are not as good as Queen.
Also, it's not the 70s.
Right. I think if we were a bigger band, we could have gotten away with it. Like, if it was like our third major label release, probably could have, but second album for an indie band,
Yeah.
it's probably too much. Oh, yeah, and they're performing super well. Kiss is killing it.
Yeah.
Like, Gene is performing well. Ace is actually contributing, doing backup vocals.
Yeah.
Peter's killing it. But, of course, MVP, once again, Paul Stanley. But yeah, it's nice to see them firing on all cylinders, like everyone working together.
Yeah.
Also, this part is awesome. Like, probably some of the coolest footage of Gene Simmons performing.
Gene's fairly, sort of vaguely robotic motions kind of work.
Oh yeah, especially with his, like, demon persona. That worked really well. And it makes sense that he would be a little bit awkward, like, transitioning out of that, because that's the only way he knew how to perform on stage.
Yeah.
Paul is like, can you be an attractive rock frontman? It's like, yeah, I got this.
I wonder whose hands were in that shot, being on fire.
It's a good question.
Because I'm going to guess, unlike Rammstein dude, Paul Stanley probably isn't actually, like, trained in pyrotechnics.
Probably not, but I honestly wouldn't put it past him to do it for a cool shot.
Yeah.
Like, he does jump through a hoop of fire in this video. And with, like, that amount of hairspray,
Yeah.
that is damn brave.
That is dangerous.
Oh, there's that guy who was in Kiss for a minute. The only video with Mark St. John.
What are those hand motions about?
Who needs drums?
Yeah. I wonder whose idea it was to do the non-makeup thing.
I believe it was Paul's.
Could picture that. Him as, the traditionally good-looking frontman guy who's like, he seems to have a really good sense for the fashion style that they're going for here.
Yeah, Paul did a pretty good transition. I
And him
mean,
just,
because Paul is like, look at me, I work out, I have abs, I'm really attractive. My band is failing because our old image is passé.
Yeah, so I can picture him having pitched this to the band, be like, look, guys, the makeup look just doesn't fly anymore. We got to change things up. We're going to have to go with traditionally good-looking glammy metal band like everyone else is doing. And everyone else is like, okay, because they were all hired guns and Gene. And
Yeah, apparently
ironically, Gene is the one who looks worst for it.
Gene, I guess, fought hard against it.
Yeah.
But also think about it, most people consider Gene's makeup to be the coolest.
Yeah.
So he went from being the coolest looking member in the band to the dorkiest.
Yeah.
That just has to be heartbreaking. But ironically, even during this era, Gene still pitched himself as the leader of Kiss in press and interviews, which really pissed off Paul. He's like, "Are you serious? I write all of our singles. I produce the albums. You're not doing shit, dude." If Steve Edwards said he was the leader of Lipstick, what are you even talking about? Oh, there you go. Jumping through the hoop of fire. Oh, man, all the,
All those
stuff.
tassels.
Yeah.
They all went to Kiss Heaven. Some of them decided to go on and to try solo careers. Some of them may do well, some of them may not. They were in the band at the time, it seemed right, and not all things last, unfortunately.
It's kind of like a four-way marriage. In these times, two-way marriages aren't making it. So it's real difficult when you have four people because everybody's constantly growing in different directions. You have to hope that your purpose is the same. Sometimes you run into trouble because people don't want to be team players anymore. Everybody has the right to
People don't want to be team players. Gene.
the way we've always seen this.
Would have been great if he just said, some people don't want to be team players anymore. He just looks at Gene.
You may think you go on and, okay, here I am as a solo artist. I said, hey, weren't you in Kiss?
It's a real important part. And I think that once you've been in this band, you always identify between Kiss.
I think the best part about the no makeup period is that they're still wearing a ton of makeup.
Yeah, no, the joke I would make is that Kiss wore more makeup in the 80s than in the 70s. And then, people would the joke would go right over their heads.
You know, what's funny is you get asked that from both areas. The movie people ask
All right, so the interviewer asked Gene, hey, now that you're becoming a big movie star, are you abandoning music? And he was getting really crappy B film roles, and he's acting yeah, I'm a movie star now. It's okay. I'm still a rocker, but I'm now a sophisticated actor also.
Being on tour is real interesting because it's kind of like a buffet. You see everything spread in front of you, but you don't always eat all of it. That song, "There's a buffet." This song, buffet, I don't want it.
anybody
You know what? That was a pretty good parody of a Gene song.
6 songs called Sex Buffet. You really? Are you opting for this one?
I mean, it's actually a good song, despite bad lyrical content. It's catchy. It's got good riffs.
But by this time, they had a lot of better songs to pick from.
I think, I mean, I like this album a lot that it came off of, and I think it's a strong cut. It's a fun deep cut. It's got that 70s groove, got nice cowbell. You know, I've had sex in a ladies' room, so I get it. Like, I don't know if I'd write a song about it, but like, yeah, I relate. I
endorse this thing, I guess.
I don't know if I endorse it, because like they can, you know, it depends on how clean the ladies' room is. You know, like there's a lot of factors involved in this. I just assume when he's talking about it. All right, so at this point they're an arena band. So, like the restroom at the arena, which there's got to be a lot of people around during that. Or if it's inspired by the club days, it's like some shitty like dive bar club.
Yeah, gross. I mean, both of those sound pretty gross.
Right. So
The ladies' room at the baseball stadium.
could be like the ladies' room at a hotel, but in which case just go to the hotel room.
Yep. I mean, he did say in the banter, meet us in the ladies' room, which implies that they're just like hanging out in the ladies' room after the show is over. That'd be just the weirdest thing. Like, you go to a show, and then afterwards you're like, hold on, I gotta hit the head before we leave. Like, because the band's hanging out in the bathroom. I don't know if anyone wants to meet them.
All right, so that's 2 more.
5?
Rest 5.
Wait, are we counting nipples or are
7,
we
8,
counting
9.
unconscious women?
Nipples.
Yeah, so how many VHSs of this movie are like...
Like paused on the same spots.
Yeah, just like completely worn out on those 2 shots. They're trying to like portray Paul as just having saved the dude's life.
Yeah.
Lifeguard Paul.
I mean, someone named Paul saved a member of Kiss from drowning once. Paul McCartney saved Peter Criss.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about that before.
So if not for Paul McCartney, the world wouldn't have Peter Criss.
Yes, the Paul Stanley workout tape. For dirty minds and clean bodies. I will show you how to get the body you always wanted and the woman it belongs to. Paul Stanley exercise. Join me, won't you? Paul Stanley workout tape. Where better videos are sold. Because a muscle is a terrible thing to waste.
You know what?
Some of those were kind of creepy shots there, Paul.
But I think he pulls it off so much better than Gene does. Like in terms of they're obviously playing to a shtick.
Yeah.
Paul is much more successful of coming off as charming playing to
Right.
the shtick.
It's much more successful as, portraying it as acting and not actually being a sexual predator.
Right. So I like that, we have friends playing with Ace Frehley and Gene Simmons, and we pretty much have thrown nonstop shade at both of them.
It's true.
And the member of Kiss they're not playing with, we're like, he's great.
Slow motion. Turn it a little bit closer, you might.
It's because Paul Stanley isn't constantly a creeper.
Right?
He doesn't turn it off.
Slow motion.
Yep, we're watching slow-mo of Gene's tongue, and They do know that no women are watching at this point, right?
Right?
Like, the only thing that would only be appealing to a woman who's like, yes, I want some cunnilingus.
There's certain dudes that might be appealing
Right.
to.
But, like, the vast majority, like, I don't know, dude.
Now that you've described the blood thing as being ketchup and yogurt, now I'm just picturing, like, late in the set, this footage of Gene Simmons with the fake blood on his face. I'm like, dude, you got some ketchup on you. Oh, are these the credits for the
Yes.
thing we just watched?
Yep.
It sucked to be the person in charge of cleaning yogurt off of a Gene Simmons costume every night.
Right?
There's somebody who's like, yeah, I was in the music industry back in the 70s. I cleaned the yogurt off a Gene Simmons armor.
I feel like just cleaning the Kiss costumes in general, like all that leather.
Yeah.
So I like that there are people out there wearing Eric Carr makeup in that crowd.
So,
Like, because this was like his first like series of shows with the band, and already people are like, yes, I'm all about that Fox.
Nuclear Bubble Wrap did a show recently where, we've got the one song where somebody wears an elephant mask, and we usually try to get a volunteer from the audience. This last week we played a show, and the volunteer was like, "You guys cleaned this, right?" I was like, "I don't know. I'm not in charge of the masks. I hope so, but
Probably
probably
not.
not." Eric Lakefeet. Oh, excuse me.
All right, and time to smash a guitar.
I like he did that thing you do where you smash a guitar on its side and like, why isn't this breaking? And then you turn it sideways, and remember, that actually works.
I mean, I like how it's something that's supposed to be like a raw act of emotion from the music is a very choreographed part of the set.
Right?
Like down to the music being synchronized with it.
To be fair, for most people, it's a fairly synchronized, it's a fairly choreographed thing.
Yeah, well, I guess Kiss is just more honest about how choreographed it is. Now that's just dangerous.
Swinging your microphone around like that?
Around your neck.
He's got a lot of hair to keep it from choking him too much.
I mean, but also, damn, the balls to commit to doing that. Like, that's a stage move I wouldn't do, 'cause I'm like, that's probably too dangerous.
Well, as long as it doesn't, like, catch on anything. Like, if it lands in the audience and somebody starts pulling on it, that could be a problem. But I don't know, like, if it catches on anything, you just jog along with it.
I always like the music of this part. Little instrumental jam on the Creatures tour. With the freaking tank drum riser.
That is a pretty cool set design. Animal Wrangler, Mary Guida, aka the person in charge of the monkey. So what was with that non sequitur of the one room that the butler wouldn't let them into? And just never gonna explain what that was?
No.
It's just like a secret room.
Secret room. Like, what could Kiss be hiding in there? I'm sure there have been fan theories about this all over the internet.
And just towards the end, when the butler's like, sorry, you guys aren't allowed to film at the pool now.
But yeah, so that was Kiss Exposed. So what'd you think, Steven?
That was a, 90-minute promotional film for a band that I'm not that into.
Yep. Oh, they credit the Beatles song.
Nice. I mean, they sang it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so that is a pretty good picture of non-makeup mid-'80s Kiss.
1987. Oh, there's a post-credit scene. We got another one of these. You ain't seen nothing yet. Really? I feel like no. We've seen it.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. General thoughts on it? I mean, with some tweaking, it could be close to being like something legitimately entertaining.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is just it's a thinly veiled excuse to show all their music videos and fill up a time slot to sell VHSs. But you know what? The videos are fun, and some of the comedy bits actually do land.
Yeah. Like
the bad puns work for me. When Paul Stanley's eating breakfast, talking about roughage, like I'm a pretty rough guy. That line works for me every time. Yeah, overall, wouldn't recommend this unless you're a big Kiss fan. But yeah, if you're a big Kiss fan, it's fun. Alright, well that's our episode. Steve, where can people find us on the internet?
lipstickgeneration.com.
Alright, well that's our episode, and hopefully the recording computer works again soon.
Woo!
Woo! Have a good one. Peace.
Peace. Well, that was good technical joke.
Right?